and welcome to Random Encounter 345 or 345. My name is Jono Logan, and boy, the world has changed a whole bunch since our last episode. For example, humanity went back to the moon, and it turns out that everyone in the world still loves NASA. We all still love space. It just turns out that we all hate Elon Musk. So yeah, space travel is kind of fun and cool again, and that's really exciting to me because I love space, and Apollo 13 is one of my all-time favorite movies. So the fact that we went to space, that's amazing. Also, war and theoretically peace. So yeah, it really was a lot of examples of the best and the worst of humanity in the last few weeks. But today we have a prime example of the best of humanity here, Mike.
Oh, I was wondering how you're going to segue that in. That was very smooth. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you've also had an eventful 2 weeks ago. It was about 2 weeks ago. I think you had a pretty eventful time because you went to PAX East 2026.
I sure did.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be talking about today because you wrote a ton of features about it, and you saw a lot of games and a lot of really, really cool games. So I really want to talk about some of them. So we're just going to dive into some of the articles, and then at the very end, we'll do a bit of a roundup talking about some of the other things that you saw there. So let's just go right in. Disgaea Mayhem, hands-on, frantic fan service. So the Disgaea series is known for it's a very cartoony type of SRPG, and this is the very first, I guess, action RPG in the series. And really, it kind of focuses on different weapon play styles, special attacks, and unfortunately, you only got it was a brief demo. But what was it? What did it feel like?
It felt good. It's really surprising to me, like thinking about it now, that they don't expand to other genres that much. I feel like Disgaea 1 through, I don't know, maybe 1 through 5, 1 through 6 came out like pretty close together. Then they slowed down a lot, and they did 7. And I don't know. I look at other games like other like anime style RPGs and stuff, and to draw a weird comparison to like Hyper Dimension Neptunia, like they like to branch out. They play with genre a lot, and it's kind of strange that NIS never really has with Disgaea. So I think it's cool. I think it's actually a really good fit for an action-based game. It felt pretty good. It doesn't even have a release date yet, and that was one of the things I talked about in the article, where I'm like, when a game doesn't have a release date, I'm like, I'm going to give it a lot of leeway in terms of like performance or whatever, which we'll get into with what I think we're talking about next. But no, like it ran well. It was smooth, fun to play. Everything, for an action-based game, it needs to be responsive. It needs to feel good. You don't want to be like too floaty or too the opposite of floaty.
Grounded.
Yeah, I mean, like too stiff or something. So no, like it was really easy to like just jump in and run around. The different weapons are very cool. Like it's nice that it does feel. It really fundamentally changes how you approach any given stage, since you have to pick a weapon before you go in. Like you don't change it during, which again, like I mentioned this in the article too, like they're not labeling it as like a Muso game, but it sort of feels like one, because it's like, it would be like picking your character. You don't change characters midway through, right? You say, this is how I'm going to approach this stage. And you go in, you have these moves and just swarms of enemies, big maps, different objectives. That's what it felt like. And it was pretty cool.
I still have never played a Muso game, but Amanda's playing one right now. Actually, she's playing Age of Calamity because she was getting a hankering for Breath of the Wild, and we just had it on there, and she's like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, and she's really enjoying it.
Oh, good. Yeah, I still need to play that one. It's really weird that I haven't, actually.
It's one of the smartest asset reuses I've seen in a long time, because it just reuses everything from Breath of the Wild, but like you said, it puts it into a completely different genre, and that's really smart. The last game in the series, like you mentioned, was 7. Ben reviewed it last year? Yes, last year, late last year. So it came out in October. He gave it a 70. I'm looking at some of these reviews. Boy, oh boy, it goes back to 2003.
Yeah.
This is a very long running series at this point.
Yeah. So I think it's good. I think it's good that they're trying to do more with the series. It's weird. Like it's one of those series that I felt like they were doing so many of them, and it's like, oh, they're not that they were milking it, but there were just so many games, and they slowed down so much, which is kind of the opposite of what you expect for a lot of these companies to do. You expect them to be at like Disgaea 13 by now. So it's kind of weird, but like, I don't know. I think there's a lot they can do with it in this format. So I'm hoping it does well. I'm hoping there's more variety in the bosses than I saw in my demo. I know it was a demo. Like, I don't even know if they were, I assume what I played were technically based on real stages, but the way they set it up, like the stages were called like, PAX this, PAX that. Like, it was a build for PAX. So those maps probably exist as real stages, but like the exact experience I was playing was for PAX. So I'm not holding it too much against them that there was like it was the same character model, two similar bosses. They behave differently. So I'm sure there's more variety than that was if they were building something just for the show.
In the headline, you say frantic fan service. How much fan service can we expect here?
Honestly, not much. Like, I don't want to like get on their case too much about it. I would just, the one boss model that was in there twice was a girl basically wearing masking tape. Like barely, like pretty much nothing. Like, which it doesn't offend me, but I'm like, okay, I see what we're doing here. It was like that was the design they decided to use more than once. And of course, she jumps and bounces around a lot. But besides,
you refer to her as the bouncy lady.
Yeah, but like aside from her character design, though, like the first version of her I fought was cool because it taught me about some of the mechanics, how you can like counter special attacks. Like you would have to like get in close to hit her with stuff, but then run away when she fires this beam. Or if you time your special move, you can counter the beam and I think knock her off balance or something, so you can get in and do more damage. So there is some strategy to it, which until the boss, I didn't know how much strategy there was because it's pretty much I was just button mashing. Now again, it's a show build. There was which one was it? There was another game we'll talk about. There's another game I played that the build for the show, you couldn't actually die, which is fair for a trade show. So I'm guessing this was tuned a little easier than it should be, just to get a feel for the game. Yeah,
I feel like they're trying to give you a flavor of the game experience rather than the game experience as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the funny thing. When you download a demo off Steam, hopefully you're getting an accurate representation of the game. Here at a trade show, it's a little bit different than that. That's not the reason they're there.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's not a series I've ever actually played, possibly because I like strategy RPGs, but they're not really entirely my genre. I really like that they're branching out into different areas. I think actually we've talked about this on the show before. Like, I think more series, especially long running series, should do this because it can breathe new life into a series that's gotten stale.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy's been doing that on and off for a while with Dissidia. I mean, some are better than others, but I'm glad they do stuff like that just to try it out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to think of a really good series that I love that sort of did that, and it revitalized it. Actually, you know what it is? The one that immediately comes to mind is Metroid. Like, I love 2D Metroid. I love it. And then Metroid Prime came along, and all of a sudden, like, interest was revived in the series because although it's technically still a Metroidvania, by changing it into a first-person shooter, it really brought in a brand new crowd that may continue into the 2D games. Although I think we've talked about the fourth one. It's okay.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. The hub area that people like to talk about is, I think, fine. It should be half the size. And not that I'm playing Metroid for the story, but the ending is really bad.
That's too bad.
Other than that, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
When you brought up Metroid and talking about changing genres, I didn't know you were going to go with the 3D ones. I thought you were going to be like, and Metroid Prime Pinball and Hunters.
Okay, Hunters is similar to Prime.
I know.
They did the best they could on a system that wasn't quite ready for it, I don't feel.
Yeah. I've actually never played Metroid Prime Pinball, but I've heard people actually seem to legitimately like it. So maybe I should have.
I mean, that's not even the first one. Sonic Pinball is the originator of that genre switch. Well, let's pivot on to a genre that I am entirely more comfortable with, and I know that you love as well. and we're going to talk about a game called High Times, which is an interesting name. Because when I think High Times, I think marijuana, but this is not. It's a dating sim that takes place in a bakery, a donut shop, and it's a visual novel, kind of conceptually similar to Coffee Talk.
Yes,
which I know is one of your all-time faves.
It really is, yeah. I mean, I think they know what they're doing with that title, though. I mean, the first character that comes in the shop is definitely stoned.
Well, it's donuts. I mean, yeah. As I understand it, that's the prime stoner food right there.
Yeah, and like, you know, the twist on the donuts is that they have like a mood altering component. So it's not marijuana. They're not like pot donuts technically, but I think they're whatever the equivalent is in this world. But I don't know. It's kind of fun. You know, I don't know that they technically needed that angle. Like in Coffee Talk, you have people come in and be like, oh, you know, this kind of drink would really make me feel better. Or, you know, I used to have this when I was sad and it always cheered me up. So like, you don't technically need an actual mood altering chemical to like make you happy with food or drink, but whatever, that's fine.
Donuts worked perfectly well for Homer Simpson for years without a psychedelic ingredient. It seemed to improve his mood.
Yeah. But
it's a real cool looking game though. I like the art style. I like you say specifically, or the devs say specifically, that they are a bit inspired by Scott Pilgrim. Oh, yeah. The dev, by the way, is a dev called Yang Yang Mobile, who we're going to be talking about a little bit later with another game. So they had a few games at the show, and I like the look of this game a lot.
It's really, really nice. You know, that there's good and bad ways to do like the comic look, or sometimes people will like. Well, comic or anything else, like it'd be really easy to just take a look and be like, well, this is what we want our game to just visually look like have some, make it cell shaded or like sort of technically inspired by comics or something else, but not really lean into it. But they lean into it with like comic panels and cutscenes and stuff, and halftone effects and a font that looks like it's right out of a comic book. So they like are really committed to the look, and it's like you really feel it. It's not just like a sheen. A paint job on the game, but like animations are nice. What I could hear of the music, because music is like one of the hardest things to figure out in a trade show, right? I mean, you can only hear some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is like so clean and crisp. I think I like all the voice actors I heard so far. They have like a lot. I don't know how many actual actors they have, but they have like many voice characters. And all the people I met were really well done. So I like that. And, you know, I know some games are like this. Coffee Talk, it is not so much because, like, you know, like one person in the shop in the first Coffee Talk. But this one, like, there's multiple characters that come in that your character already knows. So I like that you're meeting new people, but there's also like established characters too, which is fun.
You have a history there.
Yeah.
And the gameplay, besides being a visual novel, is somewhat similar to Coffee Talk too, in that they come in, they have problems, they have a certain mood that they're in, and you have to make them something that improves it, essentially.
Right. I mean, in the demo I played, which I assume is the same demo as on Steam now, like it's the very beginning of the game, and you know the premise is basically your boss of the shop like left to, I think he got married or something. He's like, and took like all the ingredients and like sold everything from the shop to fund his like little trip, which is their like narrative way they explain why you start with nothing.
Sounds like a cover to me if they took all of the quote unquote ingredients to sell them to finance the trip. That seems
right.
A little sketchy there.
I cut this from the article because like my description of the premise was getting too long, but I was trying to work in something about Metroid actually, because it was like they always try to find some way to explain why she doesn't have powers in the next game, and that's kind of what this is like. It's like we need some narrative reason why you don't have anything but vanilla frosting, and here's what we're doing.
I sometimes wish that Nintendo should branch out. They should do a visual novel, basically Coffee Talk, and Mario is the barista, and just Nintendo characters come in to complain, and he has to like, I don't know, make them coffee or something like that. Like Samus is constantly coming in being like, well, I lost my powers again.
Oh my gosh. I would play it. I'm not afraid to admit it.
I'd play it too. And Sega kind of did that a few years ago with Death of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes,
Sonic the
yes.
Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't amazing, but they tried something.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite a commitment, though, to release a game for free just for an April Fool's joke. So,
No, I was impressed with them.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's still in my library.
So yeah, you make the donuts. I only had a few options in the demo, but at least gives you the idea. Like you're rolling out the dough and you stamp a circle and drop it in the fryer and choose what toppings to put on or not. I did leave one in the fryer too long just to see what would happen, and indeed it burns. I'm guessing. I wasn't really following it, but like there's a money thing somewhere on the screen. I'm guessing if you keep throwing away donuts, it costs you more to make mistakes and remake them. So obviously you don't want to do that. So yeah, so like that whole process is familiar to, like, if you have played Coffee Talk or Valhalla or something like that, of like making the right thing for the right people. But it leans a little more also onto the visual novel things, because you do have dialogue and different choices to make. And some of the characters are dateable, or at least have different friendship levels. Like you can, there's like a romantic good route and a non-romantic. So you can just be friends with everyone, or no one. So you have 3 different options for all of those characters. So different dialogues will lead you to different things. So that's cool. I like that it has that kind of gameplay too.
Yeah, and unlike the previous game, this actually does have a demo up on Steam. So if anyone wants to, you link it in the article. So if anyone wants to check that out and get a feel for the game, it's on there. And there's a trailer too right there. I just started watching it, and the music sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that I think is going to be on. I mean, there's no chance in hell we're not going to be reviewing this at some point when it comes out. Let's see, it comes out Q2 this year. So that could be Q2 this year. That could be 3. It could be anything. It could be 2027. The funny thing about release dates nowadays is they're aspirational more than anything, and that's not a bad thing either. I'd rather them keep working than release a game that's not ready yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way they talked about it, like, I think it's pretty close. I mean, its original Kickstarter date was, I think, last year or early last year, maybe. So I think it's run past that, but they mentioned a time frame to me at PAX, but I don't know if it was official, which is why I didn't put it in the article. I think it's very, very likely that it's going to be in the next couple months, which, again, covers Q2. So it should be by early summer from the sounds of it.
Cool. We're just going, by the way, if those at home are playing along, you can read all of these articles. We're going to be going through them chronologically in the order that they were posted, and you can find them all on the site. Or if you want to see them specifically, just go to Mike's name, and then it'll have a big list of like all the articles and features and everything that Mike has done, and you can just look at it there. Incidentally, that's something you can do for anyone. If you want to see anything that I have done, go to About, click my name, and there's just a giant list of everything I've done there too. So I think that's like a quality of life feature for the website that I'm not entirely certain that a lot of people know about.
No, but it's one of the things I was most happy that we could offer now when we switched the site over to our current site. Yeah, I always wanted to have that. Yeah,
it's awesome. I can go back and look at the first game I ever reviewed. Oh, I don't want to do that.
No, don't do that.
No, don't do that. So the next thing, the next article is actually you worked on it with a few other people, Hillary and Bob, but it's Ether and Iron dev interview, and we actually talked about Ether and Iron pretty extensively last week. So we're not with Bob. Bob was on the episode, so we're not going to talk about this extensively. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on the devs and their thoughts on the game.
That was a long interview. Like it was only like half an hour. We had an hour with them. I spent the first half like playing the game a bit because I hadn't played it yet.
It looks so cool.
It's so nice. The level of dedication and commitment to like the visual style and like the world they created. Like I thought I had a good sense of it, just like looking at it in trailers and stuff. But talking to the narrative director, I was just so impressed. Like he's such a I don't know if he's always been a history buff or he became a history buff specifically on New York City for this game or whatever, but he was like, he had so much to say. I mean, I think the article, the word count is like 40, it's in the mid 4,000s for that interview. And I didn't even keep every little side conversation we had. It was really, really interesting. And it just, I love that kind of stuff. Like really, I don't want to go too far down this road, but like so much so much like industry talk now is like, it's so easy for people to be like, oh, well, these people don't care about their game or just whatever it is, like focusing a lot on the game or just like talking about the company or like the bigger picture. And like, I think it's really important and interesting, like to really, really talk to and hear from the people who work on these things, because you can look at a game and be like, well, it's so easy to not see the humanity in it. And just like sitting there in the room with them, I'm like, man, these people, they care about this thing so much, which I just really appreciate. You know, the reviews for the game, I think, are pretty good. Maybe not as, not the highest, but I can tell how much they care about it. So like, I'd rather have a game that's good, that was like so clearly so much care was put into it, than, well, I don't know what the alternative is. Anyway, that's fine. A game can be good and I can enjoy it. But
I really hope they hit some success with this, because it's Seismic Squirrel's first game. And they are doing a remarkable job of PR and getting the name of the game out there. Amanda and I are watching the current campaign of Critical Role, and Ether and Iron is one of their sponsors. So,
fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. So, and like, obviously a lot of crossover there between people who watch Critical Role and people who would enjoy an RPG set in alternative history, sci-fi future, 1930s New York City. So it's a really good match of sponsor. It's a really good sponsorship match. And yeah, I'm delighted that they feel that passion. And I think reading Bob's review and talking to Bob, I feel like that's really reflected in the game. Yeah.
And like, same with, this is a weird thing. I wouldn't normally compare these games at all, but like with High Times, like the voice acting in Ether and Iron is really good. I mean, for everything we saw, just a really great presentation. So,
well, let's move on now to the next game we're going to be talking about, which is, help me out with is it Brigandine?
As far as I know.
Brigandine Abyss. And this starts with a rather eye-catching opening sentence, which is, don't play strategy RPGs at a convention.
Yes.
And I could totally understand why.
There's another one, if we're going to do my roundup later, there was one called Never's End that was also at the show, which was surprising. I didn't think it was even at a point where people could play it in public. But I'm like, no, like, it's just tricky. Like, I have nothing against SRPGs, even though I don't play them much, but it's something you really want to sit down and spend time with. And it depends on where you're playing. And NIS had, I think, 3 stations set up for Brigandine. Although while I was there were 2, because someone managed to crash one of them and they had to like reboot the PC. I mean, the game's not done yet. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm not like, I don't really need or want an audience for this. So I don't know if people are just watching, if they're like waiting their turn. So I'm like, all right. It's a weird environment to play a really deep game like that.
Well, exactly. I find that a good strategy RPG is like the perfect mix of a JRPG and a puzzle game, because that's basically, you're given a series of characters, you're given a terrain, you're giving opponents, and you need to figure out the optimal way to complete this. And that's kind of hard to replicate when you're, as you said, dealing with a really tight time frame.
Yeah. And the other aspect is obviously like, if you knew what you're doing, if you know how the game works already, a little more doable. But I'm like, I have nothing. Like, all they had was like the little controller diagram, like telling you what button did what, which of course I looked at after I was done playing, because whatever, I could figure out what confirm was. But you know, there's a lot of systems and abilities, and I think my battle had like 15 different units or something, and most of them all did something different. So like there's a lot to like quickly jump in and grasp. So I did my best.
I don't want to say they're pulling inspiration, but it does look like there are an awful lot of unicorns in this game.
Right. I mean, you know, they have staff from Fire Emblem and some other games that, of course, I'm blanking on right now. Suikoden.
You haven't listened to Suikoden. Yeah. Uden Chronicles. So yeah, it has a hell of a pedigree.
Yeah, like I can see why they're
not unlike a unicorn, presumably.
Yes, I can see why they're highlighting some of the people that are working on it. It's it's really, as an older gamer, it's still weird and fascinating to me that someone decided to revitalize this now franchise. I guess now there's 3 games, we can call it a franchise, because it was, for decades, it was just a one-off game on PS1. I don't even remember. It's so old now, like if people liked it or what the reception was. I guess they liked it enough. But I never thought much of it until they're like, hey, someone's doing another one. And now there's a 3rd one. So weird. Of all the things, like become a series much later in life. I think it's cool.
Yeah. So, our first review for it was in 1999. It got an 80.
Yeah. Okay. Not bad.
So pretty good review. But yeah, a little surprised that they revived it so late. Unlike something like Tactics or Final Fantasy Tactics, or I guess Tactic Ogre, it's a hexagonal grid system, so it's not like a, I guess, square-based grid system.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? You have squares or hexagons.
Exactly. But that offers an additional level of complexity and strategy that's available to you, obviously, because you can have more places to move.
Yeah, and there is a gameplay component too, where if you have more than one unit flanking an enemy on different sides, there's like a little link icon that'll appear on them, so you have some kind of advantage. I didn't have a chance to like pull it off because they kept moving or getting or I would use an attack on them that would push them out of range so they wouldn't be flanked. But there is an advantage to that. I don't know if it like builds, like if you get a 3rd unit in there and surround them, but maybe it does.
A few years ago, one of my favorite YouTubers, CGP Grey, released a video about hexagonal chess or hex chess, which is it's literally just chess, but instead of it being on a grid, it's on a hexagonal board, and how it dramatically increases the complexity of the game, but in a way that actually makes sense. And that's kind of how I feel about strategy RPGs. It's like, depending on what field you put them on, boy, things can get real complex. Yeah.
And then, of course, you have, different kinds of terrain and different heights. Like one of the, I don't know if he was the main hero, but like, he's the traditional looking knight, brown hair, good looking guy, knight. So I'm like, I assume he's one of the main protagonists. I know I was underutilizing him because I didn't realize at first that he has like some kind of like synergy with the dragons on the field, and he can like do something with them. But because like the field I was on, like that group was south of this little stream. It's not even a river. It's a stream. It was 1 hexagon wide that he couldn't cross. So I'm like, well, I don't want to go all the way up the mountain. It would take so many turns to get him around the water. And so I was like not using him that much, but I think that was just because I didn't know how he was supposed to play. I was just like, well, the dragons can fly over the water, so I use the dragons to fight other dragons. I can figure this out.
Dude, just hop.
Yeah, no, he couldn't go through. But no, so we had those. We had like a centaur archer guy, some unicorns, of a sort of Valkyrie character who was pretty cool. A little pixie, which was helpful because one of the only bits of advice I got was like, hey, someone at the booth told me, it's like, yeah, this leader of this group over here is like this. He said she's a ninja. I was, if you really want specifics on a visual, she was a sexy ninja, a sexy anime ninja. That's the kind of characters we're dealing with here. That's the genre. You can almost not hit at all with physical attacks. So I'm like, that was the one clue I got. I was like, okay, so use magic on her. Of course, the pixie is very weak, so I couldn't like put her in the front lines. So yeah, just figuring out all these things, figuring out the range of things and who can do what, and trying not to move everyone up too fast. But it's cool.
How bouncy was she?
She wasn't. She
wasn't bouncy. Okay.
No.
Alongside that, like you can kind of guess what game this is, and I just started giggling a little bit. I was looking at some of the screenshots, and I just looked at this evil looking son of a bitch in like the evilest looking armor ever, and his name is Chaos Solus, which is just like
Chaos Solus. Yeah.
I'm just like that. You know what? That doesn't sound the name of a protagonist for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, we do have a
Presumably
clearly
you set out to kill him.
a clearly antagonistic character named Chaos Solus, and then also in one of the screenshots they released, my personal favorite was a ninja named John. So he really runs the gamut there, but I don't feel like I'm really selling this game. I did enjoy it. It's obviously like,
oh, I think you're totally selling this game to a certain demographic.
well, it's something I would rather have spent more time with. I actually liked that there is an auto function, even though you're completely reliant on what your characters will do when you hit auto. But like for the setting I was in, for the trade show, I'm like, look, some of these characters I don't know what to do with right now, and I don't want to manually figure out 15 of them in the short amount of time I have. So I would set like a few things in action and then just do auto for the rest of the characters. And like, I don't care. Let you do whatever. And of course, one of my characters just decided to attack a barricade instead of all the enemies around it. So it's really not foolproof. So I just used it once in a while, and it's a nice time savings. I think I don't know that you can reliably win battles if you just set it to auto. Like, I don't know even who would want to do that unless there's like random battles. If you're just like grinding or whatever, that's fine. But I do think it's helpful for maybe like set up a few important moves and stuff. And anyone who's like less important to the battle, if you don't want to spend the time manually selecting all these things, you can just like automate part of it. So I think it's a nice feature.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to something that's definitely more in your wheelhouse than this game. And this is going to be Spirit Rancher. And it's a farm sim, essentially. But it's a real good looking farm sim. Right?
I was surprised. Like I was talking to I don't know if it's one of the developers, but one of the people from the company there. And she was like, yeah,
they're the same ones who were doing High Times.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, this one's still further out. It's like, we haven't, she didn't say like they're not really working on it that much, but it's like most of their resources are on High Times right now because that one's coming out soon. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get back to this after. And I'm like, I don't know why. It's like, it's sort of like downplay. It's like, yeah, it's not like really in a finished state and there's a lot of work to do. And I'm like, well, it looks pretty good to me. Like it played well. Like for a game that like they're not able to spend a lot of time on right now, I was pretty impressed so far.
It seems like the central mechanic of the game is unlike a lot of farm sims. You say it right here, where instead of growing a potato, you are growing a potato spirit. So it's much more, I guess, spiritual maybe in the Japanese sense that everything has like a spirit, even inanimate objects and things like that. That's an interesting take on a farming sim.
Yeah, it's cool because like you're not, you don't grow. I mean, maybe at some point you grow stuff, but you don't grow anything, which is probably why they call it rancher, not farmer. But no, like you collect all these spirits and they give you the resources or share resources with each other, which I think is going to be like really the key to it. I only saw like one of those like loops when I was there where I was like, okay, I need this one resource, but this one drinks water, which I had a well. And I mean, I'm guessing maybe this will change. Like there's no watering can or whatever. So like in this version of the game, like the way to get water was, and the game literally tells you like, go over to this pond here and just attack it. So I'm just like hitting the water with my sword or whatever. And just like water droplets are going into my bag. I'm sure maybe that'll change, but it was funny. So I pick up a bunch of water that I was collecting with a sword and like drop it for whichever, I think it was a stone spirit was the first one I got. They drink the water and then they make, whatever they are is what their resource is. So they'll drop stone. And then you need a coal spirit, I think, eats the stone and then we'll give you coal. Then the tree spirit, like ultimately I was trying to get like lumber to like make more fencing and make a trough and other things for my spirits. So it's like trying to figure out like who consumes what and what you need. So it's like there's a level of sort of automation in there, like trying to like put the right spirits together so they help each other to get to these different resources.
It seems like there's a bit of a Pokemon component into this as well, which is to collect spirits you need to beat them essentially. And it's real-time combat. It's not turn-based, but there's that kind of thing, I guess. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. And like right now the combat is it's about it's slightly more complex than Stardew Valley, which isn't saying much, which is fine. Like I don't, some people do and don't like combat in these games. but I like that the spirits are things you bring out into the field, and they do different things in and out of combat. So at least it adds some variety. So sometimes you'll have a little ranged attack from the little coal spirit guy. So it's neat.
I think you can tell that it's an early version of the game because it's weird. The graphic style doesn't look like Stardew. The graphics are actually gorgeous pixel art, but the interface looks pretty Stardewy.
Yeah, I would think that maybe the interface will get updated and maybe fit more in line with the rest of what's going on there, because like it's very, very, Asian, Japanese themed, so maybe even if you're just switching out all the brown wood for like the red wood from like the different structures in the game, that might feel more on theme.
Yeah, unlike High Times, obviously there's no demo available for this one yet because, like you said, this is 2027 at best. Yeah. But as we have learned the last few years, given how the world works now, 2027 is going to be here before we expect it.
It's actually going to be when this episode goes up, it'll be 2027. So,
oh, good. I'm glad I have enough time to edit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so that's about it. Like honestly, I probably should have thought to like, I should see if I have time to go into town. But this was like the end of the show, like the last day of PAX. And I think the show was closing in like 20 minutes later. So I'm like, I just want to like see if I can get this thing set up with these spirits. So I'm not even sure if like the town or villagers were even in the game yet. So I didn't get to experience any of that. But at least I got to figure out like the main like loop of like the ranching stuff. And I think it's pretty cool. Like, I'm curious how much variety there is, how many different spirits they have planned, and the different like things you can set up. We don't really cover this one, but one of the games I played a few months ago was Little Rocket Lab, and it's a automation game which like I like conceptually. I've never played any of the other like really popular ones like the factory games. But Little Rocket Lab has the pixel art and has this like cozy Stardew-y look with the automation, but it also has like a story and narrative and all that. So I surprisingly got really, really into it. So I can see this game appealing to that too, of like putting the right spirits together and like kind of getting this like flow going and like make these guys happy and do this and get this to build this and earn your karma to like build more stuff. And yeah, it's really promising.
Yeah, this game looks really up your alley. Obviously, you love Stardew. Hey, do you think we're going to get Concerned Ape's new game this year, or do you think it's going to be way in the? Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we'll get it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he even said, I think a few months ago, where he's like, "Yeah, I probably showed that too soon, but I'm just excited to get it out there because, of course, now that it's out there, people are like they want to play it, which understandable."
Yeah, it's a little bit like Silksong in the sense that they showed it like years and years and years and years ago, and everyone was like, "Oh, it looks done." No.
Yeah, and they have at least a slightly bigger team than one on that game.
Okay, let's move on to something that is way more up my alley because farm sims never really click with me. This, on the other hand, is holy crap. This looks exactly like me, and that is Terra Nova: Legend of the Ruins, and it's an interesting conceit and an interesting looking game. Very Final Fantasy VI inspired. It looks.
Yeah. I hope that was a good article. I really wasn't sure. I actually had Hillary look it over. I'm like, I know I spend a lot of time talking about the visuals, but like that really was what I had the most time to spend with. And I do think it's worth talking about the different styles and the different kind of players it'll appeal to. So also, again, it's a trade show. I didn't have time to like get down and really get into the story. I had time to go through a dungeon and set up different parties. And I think part of it, I did focus on that because I think that is important. Like I see enough people who really get into things the last many, many years now, like randomizers and what's that challenge thing? there's like a common challenge thing people do for like Final Fantasy V, like a job system thing. I forgot what it's called, but I know people love doing those kind of things where you're like, set up a very specific party or like a really difficult to manage party and like speed run a game or something like that. And I think I can definitely see this game being part of that scene eventually, because there's so many classes and different things you can do. As witnessed by me getting so excited about like all these cool classes that I've never seen in like a lot of other games, and putting a party together, and until I get into a dungeon forgetting, I didn't put a healer in my group. So I was unintentionally challenging myself.
Let's talk about a little bit about the visual stylings, because I mean, if we had to, actually, you know what? I don't think you did pay too much attention to it, because if I recall correctly, a very, very popular game quite a few years ago when it was announced and we saw what it was, and it was The Messenger. And The Messenger, while it was a great game, fantastic Metroidvania, really clever central conceit, people were just talking about how it looked and how you could switch back and forth between 8-bit style visuals and 16-bit style visuals. And that's kind of what we have here. Like, you have some good screenshots here that show turn-based battles, which is classic Final Fantasy style. You have your line of the party on the right, and you have the enemies on the left. You have fight magic, that kind of stuff. But you see it in 8-bit visual style and 16-bit visual style, and you can switch between them. And that is such a cool little thing. I love it. I talked, the developer was there. I talked to him a little bit while I was playing. I mean, he was talking to different people playing because they had two stations set up. But I asked him, like, how did you, this is so much extra work for you, isn't it? To make everything twice. And especially, like, I was asking him that after I went through like the character creation. This is all in the article, illustrated. I have screenshots, but in the character creation, you can customize your character sprites. Like every color on your, every major color on your character sprite, you can customize. There's RGB sliders, so you can make your character look whatever you want, and like it's mapped to like the full screen pixel character portraits too. So like whatever you want that character, with whatever skin tone, eye color, hair color. And all their outfit colors, like all of that. It's actually almost an overwhelming amount of options, which is probably why he has like a window of like, I don't know, 20, 25 like presets. So if you just like want a certain look, you can go like, pick from one of these presets. But it's like, it's so much customization for these pixel art characters. And I think that's really, really cool. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, and that also applies to both styles. And he didn't go into a lot of detail, but he says he has something in the game running where like he doesn't actually have to fully redraw everything twice, I think, to make up for the different colors. Like there's something that can like translate one style to the other. I'm guessing it's the 16-bit one can like remap, X amount of colors down to like a smaller color character or color palette or something. I don't know how he's pulling it off, but it's really impressive because it's literally just you hit a button at any time, in the menus, gameplay, battle, if you just want to see the two different styles. So it would make a lot more sense, I think, than something like a lot of the LucasArts adventure game remasters had a similar feature where at any time you could push the button and it would like seamlessly switch back over to the original visuals from the HD visuals, which was very easy for them to do that because it's not like running the original was very system intensive because it's a game from 1993. But here, I doubt he has like two instances of the game running at the same time. It's probably something like you said going on with shaders or that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that was really cool.
I also see there. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like, and then there's like different filters too. I kind of wish like. Right now, like a lot of the screenshots we have on the site, because a lot of the ones they've released all have this like scan line filter, which I don't love, but I like it as an option. But I made sure to point out in the article, it's like this is what most of the screenshots look like, but this is an option. You can do scan lines, you can do like a PSP or Game Boy style like pixel grid, or just have clean pixels. So I'm glad that they're all there.
Yeah, I can only see one screenshot I think there's two here, but one screenshot that shows the actual in-game play of a battle without any scan lines or a filter on top of it. I'm on the same page. I played a lot of games on emulators, and they always offer various options to put a filter on top of it to make it feel more like you're playing it on a CRT TV. But you want to know what? When I was playing it on a CRT TV, like Final Fantasy VI, I didn't notice the scan lines. Like, I think that almost memory has made them more prominent than they actually were.
Yeah.
Because, like, looking at this, I love the visuals, but like looking at some of the scan lines on this, I'm just like, wow, those are some chunky scan lines right there.
Yeah.
Like that is a distracting level.
Yeah. And I should even say, like, I saw the scan lines because the thing is, a lot of those screenshots are from an older build of the game. I did try to highlight those, and I don't recall seeing it in person. I don't think the way the game looks now, that effect is quite as heavy. So that's also, like, it looks better than what you can tell in those screenshots.
Yeah, because I mean, again, playing emulators, they always have the option to put a filter on top that makes it look like a CRT, and it's like, it's not quite that heavy. Anyway, no, but regardless of the filter on top, and you can remove it and everything, it seems like the order of the game for this game is customization, and they're offering an insane number of customization options, like you said, in character and the character creator, but also in terms of the visuals. You can make it look like a classic NES game. You can make it look like a Super Nintendo game. You can make it look like a Game Boy game, a Game Boy Advanced game more specifically.
Yeah, and like that's just covering visuals. Of course, there's customization in how you build your party and your they're not called jobs, whatever they're, well, actually, I think they are called jobs. The different jobs and groups you can set up. And then, of course, equipment and everything else. I didn't even get into that in the demo. So,
well, one of the things that I like about it, and this is just, I guess I just like alternate history stuff, but like, while the 8-bit screenshots do, like, they're very inspired by obviously 8-bit Final Fantasy games, they're still same character proportions, same technically detail of the characters. So it kind of almost looks like, what if Final Fantasy VI was produced for the NES?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I'm excited for this. This is all of your stories were interesting, but except for one game that you mentioned, the Roundup, this is the one I'm looking most forward to.
Oh, I'm excited to get to that. Yeah, me too. Because like this was like a complete like random find for me, because Nintendo, at least in the last few years, I've been going to PAX. Like a lot of times they've been there as, Pokemon is there, not Nintendo specifically. This time it was Nintendo, and they had a section for Pokopia and Pokemon Champions, and a huge display for Mario Wonder. And literally behind this like 30-foot tall thing for Mario Wonder was this game. So like, I didn't even know it was there until I was like, we haven't been back down this back aisle yet. And here this was. And I'm like, oh, I need to play this right now. Yeah, I'm really impressed by it. I know he did a Kickstarter like several years ago, and it didn't like pull in much. And I don't know why. I mean, maybe the game looked too early at the time. I don't know. But I know
I'm looking at it right now, and it might be that he misspelled the word better in the first sentence.
Oh, dear. Well, I'm hoping the new Kickstarter does better. I don't have any idea what the time frame is for release on this, but it's looking pretty good. I want to see, when we get closer to release, like I want to know how the rest of the game is. How's the story? How are the characters? Like that? None of that. I don't know anything about that, but from what I see and what I've played, it feels good. It plays well. It looks great. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, this looks like a pretty good Kickstarter. There are a few screenshots that we don't have. Like, for example, it has a full Mode 7 style overworld. Yeah. It looks, and this amused the hell out of me, just because, just like this is a retro game and it like pays homage to being like a retro game. They have one screenshot that shows the controls for the game, and it shows a controller. It shows a Super Nintendo controller, but it doesn't say SNES. It says 8-bit do SN30. Yeah. It's an 8-bit do controller, like officially in the game, which is hilarious.
I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah. I had that controller actually. That was a very good. Well, I had the one with the thumbsticks, but it was a pretty good controller.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, my go-to controller right now, I have two go-to controllers. One is my PS5 controller, just because I adore my PS5 controller. It's so big and chunky and heavy, and it feels really good. But for any retro game, I'm using the my 8BitDo Pro 2.
Oh,
I think the Pro 3 is out by now, but like I love
Pro
this
2
controller. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. They make so many now.
I know. They do such great stuff, though.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so we still have the game Roundup to talk about. You saw a lot of games at this PAX East, and obviously you can't write articles about all of them, but you do want to talk about them. So yeah, let's take a look at some of these games. So Altered Alma is the very first one, and it's a RPG Metroidvania. This is a game we're probably going to end up covering, because Metroidvanias are tricky with us, because we do cover them sometimes, but we don't cover them other times. And the question is whether or not it's a more Metroid game or whether it's a more Castlevania game, specifically Symphony of the Night. If there are enough RPG elements in the Metroidvania, absolutely, totally in our coverage. But if it's just like paying lip service, or there's not really that many, it's not really in our coverage. This does. This looks great.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a very frequent discussion between myself and my reviews manager, who always wants us to cover more Metroidvanias, and I'm like,
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Hold your horses.
Yeah, but we're covering this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially after playing it, like, yeah, it seems to have enough of the RPG elements. The pixel art is fantastic. Like it has a very, I think like the Mega Man Zero series is maybe the closest I can think of, like that kind of Game Boy Advance style, but like more like the backgrounds and effects and stuff you'd never see, but the sprites have that. There's a certain feel like to some Game Boy Advance sprites and characters, but it's a lot of fun. Like the action is great. The different moves that I had access to. So, I mean, I'm hoping for my sake it wasn't a different demo this year, because I didn't have time to get over there. But I'm excited about it. Like I was so impressed by it a year ago. So, you know, if it's a newer demo, like they've obviously spent another year on it, so it can only be better.
Yeah, it's available on Steam. So if the demo specifically, if anyone wants to check that out. I am always up for a good, I guess, Mega Man like.
Yeah,
specifically something a little bit more like the Zero series, or it's not a Metroidvania, but a couple months ago I played what was it called? Gravity Circuit, which is a pretty damn pure Mega Man X like, and it was so good. So looking at this, I'm like, I think this will scratch many at the same itches, I think. Yeah,
no, I've been wanting to play that one too. I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it. It was so good. It's literally it's exactly what it says. It's exactly what it promises. It's not my favorite Mega Man like. That would be 30XDX, but it's great. Let's move on now to Canvas City, and it has an attitude and visual flair seemingly inspired by the beloved Jet Grind Radio, but a strategy RPG wrapper. Now, we talked about strategy RPGs a little bit earlier and how they're kind of hard to really get into. This thing looks cool, though.
It does. It looks really nice. You know, I didn't play the game or talk to the devs, so I can't say that they actually were influenced by Jet Grind Radio, but I mean, probably somewhat. I also don't want to like attribute like any kind of like game with like a lot of graffiti or skating or like that kind of attitude to like this one game, as if that stuff didn't exist in the world anyway. But so maybe it wasn't inspired by that, but it does look really fun.
For those who are confused listening to this, Jet Grind Radio is the same game as Jet Set Radio. They're just different titles based on different regions. So if you know one by the other name and you're going, that's not the right name, it is the right name.
Yeah, I forgot which one is which region, but yeah, that game.
Yeah. I like the look of it.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I think I really wanted the screenshot in there from like the garage, which I guess is like your hub area. Like there's so much like little details in there. So I appreciate that kind of thing. I watched the trailer. The combat seems good. The story behind the game is familiar, and I think it's going to resonate with people too, where there's like, you know, the city, Canvas City, that your characters are in is basically just like run by this like corporation now, where like, you know, it's not, I forgot what it was. It's like not that music is outlawed, but like, no one does anything fun. Everything's gray and drab. And it's kind of like this whole like, stick it to the man, like we're going to take the city back kind of thing, which, I always have room for that kind of story.
Yeah, I do too. I just wish we weren't sort of living it.
Right. But I mean, I'm happy it's out there to like, give people that. So for sure.
I am too. The next game that's on the list is Fishbowl, which is giving you a lot of To the Moon vibes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was watching some people play that were just playing the demo or like getting emotional. I'm like, oh yes, that's what this game is going to be. Well, I mean, the demo, I mean, it's, this isn't a spoiler. It happens before the game. Like they talk about like it starts off like where your protagonist, like she's lost her grandmother. But like in the demo, you see more details about that. Like she was like really, really close with her. So like you go through some flashback sequences when she was little and some like different, just like really, really like normal, like just daily things. Like literally there's a scene where like they're at the park and you're like picking up flowers and putting them in a basket and giving them to her. But just the dialogue between them is so warm. So like, I think they do that really well. Like you really get a sense of how close they were, and how she's like balancing that after moving to her first apartment as an adult and like starting a new job. And it's very, very like slice of life kind of story. But I enjoy it. I haven't actually read. I know we have a review coming up. I think it'll be posted a little bit after this episode. One of our new reviewers reviewed it, and I don't know what she thought yet. But I enjoyed it. I think it has a lot of potential. I hope people are liking it. Like I like a good little like heartfelt indie game. This is made by two people. So I would imagine maybe some of it is drawn from like real life experiences. Maybe not the part where a magical toy fish is like talking to you, but the other parts.
You know what? I've actually never been able to play To the Moon simply because I know about it and I know what it does to people, and I have not been in a place where I am ready to let a game do that to me right now. But I hear it's unbelievably gorgeous in every conceivable way, and the fact that this is getting such an emotional reaction just off the demo, that's very promising.
Yeah, I think so.
The next game on the list is Galvatine Adventurers Guild. And this is a classic fantasy guild reputation simulator. So, yeah, kind of like technically RPG adjacent in terms of what you're doing, but you're not the one who's going into the dungeons. You're the one who is running the guild, essentially.
Yeah, and I don't have a ton of information on it. Like this is one of the ones where I didn't even see it on the show floor, so it must have been like really away in a corner somewhere. But I love the concept of it. It's just something you don't usually see. I mean, maybe someone else has done it before, but I haven't seen it. And I think I can just imagine the thought process that went into it, where you're like, we all play these games where you have these quests, and sometimes you go back to the person when the quest is fulfilled and you just be like, hey, I did the thing. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm glad you did. Or maybe you don't even go back to them. Maybe you just complete the thing in the field and get instant credit for it. So the idea of going into the other side of that, the person who gives out the quest, and having someone who actually has to confirm that you actually did the job you said you were going to do. And you have to see, like, there's a monster encyclopedia you have to look up and be like, okay, they said they killed this thing. Let's make sure this is the part off of the right monster. Did they do this? All the like different components of it. It's a really interesting idea. So I hope it does well, because I think it's not a kind of game I've ever heard of.
Well, there's also a, I guess, visual novel component of it where your day job is to work the guild tavern and serve up monster cuisine, which presumably mood altering monster cuisine. So yeah, you have to make dishes and things. So there's like a little bit of coffee talk kind of thing there. Yeah. Which, hopefully they don't. I guess I can see those two things going together, although they also sort of feel like they could be two different games. So I hope they don't like try to like cram too much into the game and keep their focus and make sure the stuff that's there is polished. But
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is really a direct correlation. Maybe you're sending people on these quests to get these monster parts to cook, which is probably what it is. Maybe that's why you need to make sure they give you the right things because someone needs a dish based on that monster.
Yeah, the next game on the list is Lunararium, which it's isometric perspective, challenging fights. It's giving you a little bit of Hades, but it doesn't look like Hades, if that makes sense.
I really tried not to bring that up because I know isometric perspectives existed before Hades, but it's kind of hard not to think of that now. Perspective wise for sure, but the visual style is like really, really, really cool. It's kind of I'm wishing now that I put this in the article, but like it reminds me of Eco, just the really soft tones, and it's almost dreamlike. So it's a neat world, and I don't think that's a visual style we get a lot in general, and certainly not in a game like this. So yeah, I didn't get to play it, but it does seem like it's a little bit of that, maybe some Souls-like, because there's like parry, dodge, and like challenging bosses seems to be like a big thing of the game. So
yeah, it just looks like a really cool game. I want to talk about the next game on the list though, because this is the one I'm actually jealous of you at the moment, because you got to play it, and this is a game that I am really, really, really looking forward to, and that is Mina the Hollower.
I didn't play it at PAX though.
Oh, you played it though, didn't you?
Yeah,
like it was the demo was available. I still haven't played it yet. I mean,
oh, did they take the demo down? Is that why?
Yeah, the demo's down, so that is
okay.
I need to wait for it. This game should have been released already, I believe, right? Like,
yeah,
it shouldn't have. The release date was announced, and then they were just like, nope, and they took it down instantly.
Yeah, well, they were aiming for a Halloween release last year, which would have been fun. It would have been a fun release date for that. But yeah, I mean, based on my time with the demo, I'm really pleased with it. You know, I've heard whatever. I've like glanced at mixed opinions, but I don't know why. You know, it looks like it's set out to do. It looks like it's going to do exactly what they aim to do: give you this game that looks very much like a Link's Awakening type game, but with like more modern and newer like gameplay elements. You know, the idea of burrowing in the ground and like using your different equipment to, interact with enemies in the environment. Like it's really nice. I mean, there's characters to talk to, dialogue, and everything's fun and well written. So I'm going off memory now because like I don't know when that demo came out on Switch, but it's been a little while since I played. But no, I mean it's fun. It's got like a sub weapon thing, kind of like a Castlevania, where you have, I forget what the resource is for those sub weapons, but you can carry one at a time.
Hopefully, confusingly, it's not hearts, because I think having hearts in a Zelda like replenishing your secondary weapon would make my head explode.
I don't think it is.
But I think Yacht Club games I genuinely think that Shovel Knight is one of the greatest video game accomplishments of all time in terms of the sheer amount of stuff that it gave people for free. Like,
oh yeah.
Just Shovel Knight by itself is impressive enough. It's a brilliant game. And then they just made 3 other ones that were like almost the exact same size with completely different play styles. All of them brilliant. It just was an insane. I'm stunned they remained in business, because that's a lot of work for free. I'm really hoping this thing is a massive hit, because I think they deserve it.
I do too. Yeah. And
also, I really, really, really would like them to make more games. So yeah, I really hope it's a hit. We have a few others here. We're running out of time. Well, I'm not running out of time. We can talk for as long as we want, but I don't want the episode to run too long. So do you want to just talk about these pretty quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the next game is, it was at the Day of the Devs presentation, and it's Never's End. And it's a strategy RPG. So again, not the kind of thing you want to play at a trade show. But looking at it, it looks really neat. It looks cool. What makes it unique?
Just the mechanics. Like there's some gameplay mechanics that are really interesting, where you can alter like the battlefields in terms of like you can change the weather and the weather, the density of the terrain. I don't know if that means like you can make the ground soft and like trap enemies in it, or just a lot of different things. Temperature, weather, some other things, just other components you can do to like alter things to make things work in your favor. There's townspeople that show up because the idea is like there's one village left, like there's not much left of humanity. But then there's like these people that will come from somewhere, I'm not really sure where, and be like, hey, I'm going to start a business here, and you can help them start a business. Like I saw that, but then also you can just possess their bodies and use them as weapons. So there are some darker tones in that for sure. I don't have a good sense for like if it's a multi playthrough game, because they talk about things where like if you spend a lot of time like leveling up or whatever, like the main enemy, the Never, like gets stronger. So it kind of sounds like you can make a quicker path to the end and the boss won't be as difficult, but then you won't be as strong, or you can spend more time doing it, but then as you're building up, like so is it. So it does sound like maybe it's a shorter game that you're meant to play through multiple times in different ways. I don't know for sure, but that's what it sounds like. So it has some cool ideas going on. So I appreciate that.
The next game on the list is Soulframe. This made me laugh because I looked at it and they created a game called Warframe, which was a free to play kind of hit, and that is a science fiction game set in like a futuristic world. And they were like, oh, we need to make another one. Well, let's make Soulframe, and that was a Soulframe, and that was they kind of went the opposite route of Warcraft and Starcraft.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's create a franchise that's not really a franchise.
Just the naming of it is actually really funny to me. Where they're like, we're going to make a Souls-like, and we make Warframe. Like, well, there it is. There's the name. Why not? It works.
I love the fact names are always the hardest thing to come up with when you're making anything creative. And in this case, I think it was probably an easy choice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about it because, again, I didn't get to play it yet. I know that you can sign up to play it now because it's in like a pre-alpha stage. But it looks great. I mean, my brother is a big Warframe fan. I know there's a lot of Warframe fans. So I think it's safe to say that they know what they're doing and they have a really, really solid track record from what I know. So more power to them. Like if they want to try this thing in a different style game, then I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. And the last game that we are going to talk about here is called Tales of Tuscany, which is pretty funny because this does not look like Italy.
Right.
It's clearly it's clearly an Earthbound like right down to the graphic style and certainly the font.
Yeah, definitely some Earthbound Undertale vibes, which I try so hard not to be like, oh, this is inspired by X or Y. But but
sometimes it is.
And it's not a bad thing. Like I tried my best to like describe what I saw and what it looks like. So it's like, it's not just a derivative work, but like, yes, this is their inspiration. I am sure of it. It looks really fun. Like I like what they did with like just how in your face everything is. Like the menu, if you look at some of the screenshots, like just the battle menu is like this giant pixel font that takes up like a third of the screen. Mm-hmm. This one, the little station that was set up at PAX for this, like there was one or two, I think, people playing on like a regular monitor, but then I think they really wanted people to see it. So there was also like a, 50, 60 inch TV mounted. So like someone else could like stand and play on that one. So like I was watching this thing like as big as me on the TV. So like just if I had a ruler with me, I could have measured those pixels in inches. So it was like really, really made an impact, which I'm sure is what they were going for. It looks really funny.
Oh yeah, and they have like I'm looking at the HP here. That just like Earthbound, they have the rolling counter thing.
Yeah.
So clearly, also reading it here. Oh, there's bullet hell aspects. So this thing is like really going for like all of the Earthbound Undertale style stuff.
Yeah, like there's bullet hell, and then I was watching someone play for a little bit, and they were playing it like I would play Undertale, where they were not fighting this thing they were fighting. They were just like, I think they were hugging it or like otherwise trying to like be nice to it, and like it was filling up this meter. And then once the meter was full, and they were like friendly enough with you, you can have them join you instead of actually defeating them.
Yeah.
Now, on looking at the Steam page for the game, they phrase it as something weird, like, gaslight your enemies to be your friends instead of defeating them. I'm not sure what the gaslighting was, because they were just like hugging and being nice, but maybe there's some enemies where you're like pretending to be nice just to befriend them. I don't know.
I mean, it's arguably hugging can be a tactic of gaslighting, I guess.
I mean, true. Like, it's obviously some of it's just tongue in cheek, but
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure at some point we've talked about this. I'm not sure if it's come up on a podcast, but comedy is difficult. And I feel like in games, I think it's pretty rare to like really get you can get games with funny moments or funny lines or stuff like that. But a comedy game, I feel like more often than not, doesn't always land for people. I like what I see here. I hope it does. Because I know that's really difficult to do something really off the wall and like funny, and hope it like resonates with people. And I think it will. So I don't know. It looks really, really fun.
Yeah. And that's the end of a really extensive run of articles that was must have been exhausting to write them all, because they're not short, especially not that interview. I think that it sounds like it was a really, really cool show. I'm hoping. Did you have fun?
I did. Yeah. I mean, this was I think it was our fourth PAX or third PAX. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was great. As someone who went to most of the E3s that existed, maybe I was a little burned out after like the last several years when they like tried to pack too many people in there. That they had the public in. It was just there was just too much. It was really hard. It got hard to see things in the show. So like going to PAX now with its smaller scale and bigger, there's just more room for everything because there's not as many people. And you could just walk around and do stuff. You could just go up and play a game. You can go look at the tabletop stuff. You can go get merch. You can go get funnel cakes or corn dogs or whatever. I like the environment a lot more than what E3 was towards the end. So I don't know what PAX West is like in comparison, but yeah, I think it's great.
I'm still disappointed I never got to go to E3. My first year was going to be 2020. Wonder what happened.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, before we go, I just wanted to, obviously we're running a little bit over now, but I did want to mention this discussion question because you and I talked about it briefly and I thought it was kind of a fun one. We were talking about what you're playing right now and that kind of thing. And you said Pacopia was very high on the list, which you were enjoying.
No, it's not high on the list. It's not high on the list. It's the only thing I'm playing.
It's the list.
I need to log into Final Fantasy 14 in the next week or two so I don't like lose my house, because you have to like log in every 30 to 45 days or you like lose the house in the game.
That's even worse than in reality.
I know. No, I mean, that's almost all I'm playing is Pacopia. It's so well made.
Amanda mentioned that she was like, would you like a Switch 2 for your birthday? We could talk to your mom and we could like work on it together. I was like, I don't know. There's not a lot of games. She's like, you want a Switch 2 for your birthday? And I'm like, you want to play Pacopia, don't you? She's like, yes, I do. Which is really funny. But yeah, it looks like a cool game. So the question I guess I wanted to ask you is, you are also a giant fan of Dragon Quest Builders 2, and it's the same developer, Omega Force. If you could pick a series that they could be given and they could give it the same treatment, the same pseudo Minecraft treatment that they gave Builders and Pacopia, what series would you like to see that happen with?
Well, we briefly talked about this. I'm guessing one of the things we mentioned, is that going to be your answer? Because I won't mention that one.
No, please go ahead.
Because the thing I originally wanted when I played Dragon Quest Builders was a Final Fantasy Builders. Like we have something like World of Final Fantasy, where you have like the really, really cute, tiny versions of all the characters. Like there is a visual style that I think would actually adapt pretty well to a Builders-like game with Final Fantasy. They could do a very, very similar thing to Dragon Quest, because Dragon Quest took these like very familiar like patterns and brick patterns and textures and stuff from the original games and like made new versions of them, upscale versions. So you could make, these little brick brick buildings and stone castles and all that stuff. And, you know, eventually you can even unlock ones that are just like a blown up texture from the NES game, like a really pixely brick pattern. And like, I'm like, well, just do exactly that, but with Final Fantasy characters. I think it would be fun. I mean, it's not the most original compared to Dragon Quest, but I'm like, I think it would work. And obviously you have a lot of fans and like a ridiculous amount of characters to pull from. Not that Dragon Quest doesn't have a lot of characters, but, you know, I know more Final Fantasy characters than Dragon Quest characters. So I think they could do something really interesting with that. I don't know if you have to do like, you know, some weird like portals to different worlds kind of thing to like throw all these characters together like they would in a World of Final Fantasy or Dissidia, but whatever. I don't care what the narrative is. Just let me have Cloud and Lightning or whatever, like building a castle together.
Celis builds a house. Celis builds an opera house.
Celis builds a hospital.
That's that. Yeah, it would work. I mean, that's the nice thing about this kind of. That's the nice thing about this particular genre of game. It kind of works with just about anything, really.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if you're doing Final Fantasy, you'd probably still have like the combat elements of Dragon Quest, which of course are not in Pokopia. Pokopia doesn't have any battle or combat mechanics at all. It's just firmly in the building and like kind of life sim kind of stuff, which, you know, I don't know if people prefer one or the other. It is kind of funny since a big aspect of Pokemon is battles, and that they released Pokopia and said, okay, I know you're used to battling with Pokemon. There's no battles in this game. And exactly a month later, they're like, here's a game that's nothing but Pokemon battles. So, you know, they're covering all their bases with these two games.
Yes, but one has humans, one doesn't.
Yes, that's true.
Guess which one has the fighting?
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, that's again, looking back at the last 2 weeks, that's like, wow, that's okay. Yeah, let's hammer that. We were talking about it briefly, and you mentioned Zelda as another possibility. I said it would be really cool if they did like an updated version of the NES Zelda graphic style and tile-based layouts into like the Minecraft style builder.
Yep.
I think that would be really neat.
I can totally see it. Yeah.
And you can kind of see that there are like fan projects online where they have made The Legend of Zelda for NES into a 3D game, and it looks terrible and amazing at the same time.
I've seen some of those. I haven't looked in a while, so I'm not sure how many are out there, but yeah.
Oh, there are so many cool Legend of Zelda projects out there, one of which we might be covering pretty soon. You and I talked about it, and I'm just like, oh, this looks so cool. I want to do something with this.
Yeah, go for it.
But we'll figure it out. What I'm playing right now is Starfield, and I don't know. I don't like saying that, but I do not know. I am not clicking with it yet. I hope I will. I really hope I will, but I feel like I'm fighting the systems that are inherent in the game rather than adapting to them, or them like there are just things that haven't been taught to me. Like I'm going out to explore and I'm like, oh, okay, apparently I'm poisoned now and I have a persistent cough, but I'm wearing a helmet. Why did this happen? And like the HUD isn't really explaining what's happening very well. And also the game, it's like I hate, this has been said before, but it's like, what if the Outer Worlds didn't have a sense of humor? Like, what if they played it straight?
I know you're not joking, but it is funny to summarize it like that.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, oh, okay. That's weird. Like there's, as far as I can tell thus far, there's like no satire in this game at all. And I don't need a lot of it, but I do want a little bit of it. I don't know. Maybe the game will turn out to be a laugh riot, but at the moment I am struggling a little bit with it, and I'm disappointed because honestly, I was craving a Bethesda style. Was that going over there to find that style game? And it's not giving me that. And then I just gave up on it. I was like, all right, I'm not getting that out of this game. I'm just going to take this game for what it is. And then I can't take the game for what it is because it seems to be fighting against me every single step of the way. I'm really hoping that shifts. But we'll see.
You know, tonally, it's one of those things where I'm like, well, maybe maybe you shouldn't like expect certain things in a game like that. But then I don't know. I kind of think when you have these developers making these game worlds or game galaxies or universes or whatever that are like huge, where it's like it's supposed to like pull in like all these different aspects of humanity and life, and like you would have someone in there making a joke. Like if it's supposed to be like this all encompassing experience of like, here you can just go in here and do anything you want to do and have all these different experiences, like there probably should be someone that makes a joke once in a while. Like there should be some, aspects like you would just anywhere else. So I don't know. Maybe that's not what they want, but like it would feel weird if you just like that just wasn't there at all.
Yeah, and I'm not that far into the game yet, so maybe that'll show up. But I think it's telling that the thing I'm actually looking most forward to in the game isn't Bethesda. It's one of the creator things. Like Creator Club, obviously somewhat controversial, but there are you can download things that change gameplay. You can download they're paid mods, but I was looking through them trying to figure out because I wanted to buy one because I got the premium edition. It comes with a few extra credits. So I was like, okay, well let's see what's available. And a lot of them look pretty interesting, but one of them, Watchtower, Orbital Strike Fleet Command. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. King Grath. So King Grath is the creator of this, and he's a modder for Skyrim and Fallout 4, and he is the creator of Sim Settlements and Sim Settlements 2 for Fallout 4. And this mod doesn't just fix the worst part of Fallout 4, which is the settlement system. It makes it one of the most enjoyable parts of the game.
Wow.
It's brilliant. Like it's genuinely it's a stunning achievement. And it's not just in terms of like mechanics too. He completely changed the way that settlements work in Fallout 4, where before it's, you have to build everything. Now you build plots like in SimCity that are like zoned to be like commercial, residential, industrial. And your residents, you assign a resident to that plot and they will build it for you. And there's an entire plot line connected to this, and it's wonderfully written, totally lore friendly. It's genuinely probably one of my favorite parts of Fallout 4, and it's not part of the game. They smartly hired him to do creator mods, and one of them is Watchtower. It's just him. And if Sim Settlements is any indication, this is going to be amazing. So yeah, really looking forward to that whenever I get to that.
So anyway, what is it? What's the mod do?
Oh, apparently it is like, I'll read you the description. Build a fleet with orbital strike capabilities and arm yourself against Watchtower, a powerful, secretive organization that aims to protect humanity from superpowered threats, including you. So it's like completely new quest line with dungeons, ship parts, equipment, gameplay systems. It sounds like he is really, again, revamping a key part of Starfield, which is the shipbuilding mechanics.
I'm just going to build a new game inside of this one. It sounds like.
I would like this gentleman to put together. I want someone to fund him. I want Bethesda to fund him and just see what he comes up with, because if he's fixing games, like he's fixing them. Sim Settlements 2 is literally. I can't remember, Mike. Have you played Fallout 4?
No.
There is a faction in Fallout 4 called the Gunners. We have to wrap this up, but there's a faction in Fallout 4 called the Gunners, and they're just a mercenary group, and they're all over the map. And when you meet them, it seems like they have a big story attached to them, because they're a faction, full-on faction, really interesting. And then there's just nothing. There's nothing. They're just there. There's like. They have a base, but then when you beat the base, there's like nothing happens. You just beat the base, and a few days later, they're back again. And Sim Settlements 2 takes them and expands them into being an actual faction. And they make the assault on their base in the game, a former radio station building, into like a siege, and you can take it over, and then it becomes your base of operations, and it changes the world around you. It makes Fallout 4 into a much more reactive game to what you're doing. And I just think this guy and his team are phenomenal. So yeah, I'm really excited about this piece of creator content, more so than I am the actual game. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't mean to rain on anyone's Starfield parade, because they just released this big new piece of DLC and they revamped space travel, and I'm looking forward to all of that, but it's just not clicking with me yet. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I mean, I guess you could argue the mod is part of it, though. I mean, I know it's not something they made, but I guess like the structure is there to let people do that. So like, if you enjoy it, I guess you're enjoying Starfield on that level.
I mean, I'm really glad that I'm a giant fan of modding for all of Bethesda games, because the level of additional entertainment that you can get out of them. Like I played Fallout New Vegas several times now, and every time I will install like 12 new quest mods, and it's just like, oh, more of the game that I love. Thank you. And the fact that Creator Club exists and that some of these mod creators are getting paid is wonderful.
Yeah.
They are very, very, very expensive for what you are getting. You could spend easily like more than the actual game on 10 quest mods. Because like quest mods range between usually 500 to 1,000 credits. Like this Watchtower is 1,000 credits, so that's like, I don't know, $10 or I guess $14.50 Canadian. So it gets expensive fast. So I'm not going to be buying a lot of it. But this one, I was like, oh god, I totally got to buy this one. I want to support this guy, because I never got to support him for Sim Settlements 2. But now I've given him some money, I hope, depending on how Bethesda handles this thing. Anyway, folks. Yeah, I think it's important that you support people. And in that spirit, I think that you should support us here at RPG Fan by visiting our store. Yes, I transitioned that beautifully without meaning to. You can find it at www.rpgfan.com/shop. We have all kinds of things on there: t-shirts, clothing, mugs, that kind of thing. And absolutely check it out there. It's the best way to support us here. Another way to support us is to keep listening to our podcasts. Last week's Random Encounter, we were talking about the latest Life is Strange game with Matt, and Bob was here to talk about Ether and Iron, which we talked about a little bit earlier in this episode. We also have Retro Encounter, and we are currently focused on an extremely popular JRPG, which is Persona 5. So the first episode of that is out now. I think the second part will be coming out the week after next, so not this Thursday, the following Thursday. So not the Thursday coming up. If you're listening to this today, it's really, wow, that got confusing very, very quickly. It's coming out soon, but Persona 5. And then there is Rhythm Encounter. And Mike, we are, the last episode that was posted was the best music of 2025. Things, like I've said, things just get insanely busy early in the year. I know there's another episode like down in the works, so that might be posted pretty soon. But if you haven't listened to the best of 2025 episode, give that a listen, because it's an awesome episode and there's some actually jaw-droppingly amazing music in it. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. Yeah, I'm really happy that if I had to force myself to take a break from Rhythm Encounter, that we got that episode out in the meantime. So I'm glad that one's up.
Yeah, I mean, you've been busy, like writing tons and tons of articles for PAX. And that's just the nature of what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
If you'd like to get in contact with us here at Random Encounter, you can fire me off a message at podcast@rpgfan.com. If you have any suggestions for future episode themes, discussion questions, anything at all that you'd like to chat about, fire me a message off. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to send me an email directly, you can do so at my email, jlogan@rpgfan.com, or you can also find me on Blue Sky at jonologan.bluesky.social. Mike, where can we find you online?
At RPGFan. And if you want to reach me, you can email me at mike@rpgfan.com. If you want to reach me for any Rhythm Encounter purposes, if you have some thoughts, if you want to come in and help me edit the show so we can get more episodes out, you can reach me at music@rpgfan.com.
Cool. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast or any of our other podcasts, please share them with your friends to help us get the word out there. And you can also rate us on iTunes and your other podcast players of choice. Mike, thank you very much for joining me today. And thank you. I mean, I know that you had a great time at PAX, but like the fun ends when you're sitting at your computer and you're like, oh, I have to write about all of this now. That's going to be a lot of work. And you churned out some really, really great articles. And you also came on here to talk about them. So this has been a big project for you. So thank you so much for doing all of that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it was fun to write about them. It took more time than I wanted, but it was fun, and I'm glad to come on here and talk to you about it too. So thank you for having me.
It's always fun to like write about something. It's not fun to have to write about something, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it's like 6 things, so I'm definitely going to try to like push to get more RPG fan people at PAX next year to distribute, because it was fun, but it'd be even more fun if a bunch of us could just write 2 or 3 things.
Yeah. And don't worry, because Not E3 is coming up remarkably soon. So we will have an opportunity to write even more articles very soon.
Yeah.
And to everybody out there listening, thank you very much for joining us. And whatever you're playing, have fun.